Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Let's jump right in. Today, we're going to decode the hidden instincts and deep biological secrets behind a very common yet entirely misunderstood habit: why your dog absolutely insists on sleeping in your bed. If you have a furry friend at home, you are going to want to pay super close attention to this because what's happening every single night is so much more profound than you probably think.
So be honest. Do you think your dog sleeps next to you just because they're cold? Or maybe because your mattress is just super comfortable? It's kind of the easy explanation we all tell ourselves, right? Well, it turns out we might have their true motivations totally wrong. Actually, we need to brace ourselves for something way deeper. We're going to uncover some dark biological secrets, ancient and frankly, almost terrifying survival instincts, and hidden signals your dog is literally sending you every single night without you even noticing. Oh, and you'll definitely want to stick around because we're also going to look at a silent crisis you might be completely missing if their nighttime routine suddenly changes.
All right, section 1, more than just worth. Let's talk about the ultimate illusion.
Look, dogs are absolute geniuses at finding a warm spot. They can track down a tiny patch of afternoon sun on the floor, curl up by a radiator, or just burrow deep into a sofa cushion. If warmth was the only goal here, they've got endless options around your house. But here's the reality check. Sleep is the absolute ultimate moment of vulnerability for any animal. Out in the wild, sleep means exposure to danger or even death. So when they ignore every other safe corner in your house to sleep in your bed, they are essentially declaring, you are the absolute only place in this world I trust with my life.
Moving right along to section 2, the biological factory reset. This is a shared miracle. So scientific research completely shocked everyone when they looked at what actually happens during this physical contact. When your dog is touching you in bed, their cortisol levels, that primary stress hormone, just plummets. But here is the crazy part. The exact same thing is happening to you. Your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure drops, and your whole nervous system totally quiets down. You two aren't just sharing a mattress, your bodies are actually performing a perfectly synchronized biological factory reset for each other. Literally, even your breathing patterns sync up.
Section 3, your nighttime personal bodyguard. Let's look at tactical positioning. First up, we have what we call the launch pad. If your dog sleeps way down at the foot of the bed, they aren't just trying to give you room to stretch out. They are tactically positioning themselves at the absolute fastest launch pad to attack or respond to a threat. It's literally their wild ancestral instinct kicking in, setting up to defend the perimeter of your territory. Now, what if they're pressed firmly right up against your back? This is the blind spot strategy. When they wedge themselves behind you like that, their instinct is driving them to cover the vulnerable side of your body that you simply cannot see. They are, quite literally, watching your back while you are defenseless and asleep. And then there's monitoring entry. If you notice your dog sleeping facing the bedroom door, this is a direct ancestral wolf behavior. They're actively monitoring the environment and watching the main point of entry for any potential intruders. They've basically assigned themselves guard duty for the pack. If you could translate their DNA code, it would basically read like this: this human is a member of my pack, and I will protect them even if it costs me my life. That is the deep, unbreakable loyalty driving these sleep habits. Honestly, it's pretty awe-inspiring when you really think about it. Section 4, decoding canine sleep positions. Time to read some hidden body language. So when your dog does the curl, tucking their nose right into their tail and completely covering their abdomen, they definitely feel safe enough to be near you, which is great. But by protecting those vulnerable organs, it means they are still holding on to just a tiny thread of caution and wild alertness, just in case they need to spring right into action. Now, contrast that with the sprawl. This is when their legs are wildly stretched up in the air and their belly is totally exposed to the whole room. This represents the absolute ultimate level of emotional safety. By putting their most vulnerable area out there, they've completely switched off every single survival instinct. Why? Because they trust you blindly. Sometimes, though, your dog might sleep with their back completely facing you. But hey, don't feel rejected. In pack behavior, turning their back to someone actually means they trust you completely not to harm them while they focus their attention on watching the environment. It is genuinely the highest compliment of trust you could possibly get from a pack animal.
Finally, we have what's known as the pressed-in position. This is when they just wedge themselves into absolute zero distance with you. I mean, even if it looks genuinely uncomfortable for them to be all smashed up against your leg or your side, their message is loud and clear. They're declaring a deep, intense desire for absolutely no separation from you whatsoever.
Section 5. The chemical stress detector, or, as I like to call it, the chemical spy.
To put this into perspective, a dog's nose can be up to 100,000 times more sensitive than ours. Have you ever noticed your dog just glued to your side after a really terrible, highly stressful day? Well, they aren't just guessing how you feel. When you get stressed out, your body chemistry physically shifts and releases hormones. Their ultra-sensitive nose instantly picks up on those tiny, subtle shifts in the air. By sleeping next to you for months, they've actually built a highly detailed baseline map of what your body smells like at total peace. This lets them detect any chemical change instantly, stepping right in to act as your caregiver.
And this devotion translates into their literal physiology, too. A dog's genetic nature makes them most alert at dawn and dusk, the prime hunting hours of their ancestors. So the whole idea of sleeping totally through the night goes completely against their wild nature. Yet they actively shifted their physiology to perfectly mirror your sleep routine. They wind down when your lights go off and wake up with your alarm. That isn't just good training, folks. That is pure devotion. They literally alter their internal body clock just to be in sync with you.
All right, Section 6, the silent danger of isolation. Here is what you need to watch out for. Listen closely to this one. If your dog has always slept with you and then suddenly starts preferring to sleep alone in some dark corner, never, ever ignore it. First things first, you need to check for pain or illness. Dogs have this deeply ingrained ancient instinct that forces them to isolate when they're sick or injured, just so they don't show weakness to predators. Pulling away suddenly like that is a silent cry for help, and it's a major cue to get them to the vet. Secondly, look for environmental or psychological threats. Maybe a loud noise in the bedroom or some social shift in the house totally disrupted their safe zone. Remember, they chose your bed because you are their safety in a loud, chaotic world.
So the crucial point we're left with today is this really powerful question. If your dog's nightly ritual is actually an act of survival and pure trust, are you truly listening to their silent messages? Take a look at your sleeping dog tonight with some newfound awe. Pay close attention to exactly how they position themselves and really cherish that incredible biological bond you share. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And as always, keep learning.